Good evening. Tonight's video is about this USSR rotary trumpet. This instrument I bought off eBay a couple of weeks ago for about 15 bucks. It is pretty cheap, it was pretty cheap, and it came in a pretty poor condition. Now, this is the second video that I've created on a Soviet era instrument. The first one was that upright rotary valve cornet, and you can check out that video by clicking around here or checking out the link in the description below. And I got in a bit of trouble for that one because I mistakenly believed the USSR stood for something it didn't, and I have been corrected. So I now know that it stands for the United Stitching and Sewing Ring. Either that or the Underground Society of Secret Rhythm, or Uninterrupted Silence Sustained Reading, or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. I've gotten many suggestions as to what USSR stands for, so please choose the one you like the most. Anyway, this trumpet here, when I got it, the bell was completely detached, so I had to solder that here and on the braces here and down here. In fact, somebody had tried to repair it before because this brace was actually turned around the other way, and there's old solder marks there, there, and up here. So that was good. It was missing a second valve tuning slide, so I've actually nicked that off a parts instrument, a flugelhorn that I have, and it fits reasonably well, but I've just put a little bit of plumber's putty around the edges just to sort of seal it up, and that actually weirdly works very well. Some of the interesting characteristics, and one of the things that having looked at some of the Gabreiel YouTube videos they talk about with rotary trumpets, is the fact that the lead pipe is usually very short. James Morrison goes on about this at some length when you see his videos, because he comments on the fact that the power of a trumpet comes from the length of the lead pipe. I don't know if that's true, I'm just repeating what he says. And then on a typical rotary valve trumpet, that power is limited because the lead pipe is usually very short and goes straight into the rotors. With this instrument, they have, by luck or by chance, obviated that issue because the lead pipe goes down and around and into the third rotor from behind. It is actually quite an unusual design, so I'll just sort of hold it up in a number of different angles. You've got the lead pipe here that goes around down here and into the bottom of the three inline rotors, and then out through the bell. So it's a really straightforward design. It's sort of like a bugle with valves in terms of the design principles of it. Now, the valves are three inline rotors, and two of them turn in one direction and the third turns in the other direction. That is a problem because the way a rotor turns has a real dramatic effect on the intonation, particularly when you're playing quietly or you don't have a lot of air going through your instrument. It can have quite a profound effect, and it's something I've talked about a little bit in my bass trombone videos. The thing that comes to mind when the thing that came to mind when I was sort of reassembling, doing some soldering work on this instrument, was how shoddily made it is. These valves, the word precision, or whatever its Russian equivalent is, was not in the vocabulary of whoever designed this. There's so much play in the mechanism here, it is just outrageous. I can move the various mechanisms in this valve about 2 or 3 millimeters before they even start engaging on the rotor. It's just weird. The valve pillar here, where the linkage mechanism connects to the actual rotor, is on a tapered cone sort of stalk. So instead of it fitting snugly, it fits very loosely, and you sort of have to whack it so it tightens itself against the taper and fits. So these little screws on the top that you may or may not be able to see, of which one is missing, just for the record, they are actually necessary because without them these rotor posts, whatever you call them, would just fly off. They don't fit. I considered filing it down so it made a decent fit, but then thought, why polish a turd? The next thing is the level of these three keys are all different. They are all in a sort of staggered, stepped arrangement, and I don't know if that's intentional or whether that's just a interesting side effect or an interesting characteristic of this instrument, but it is what it is. And the springs are very heavy. Now, if you're not used to these types of rotors, these barrels here, these circular barrels here, they contain the spring. And they're a sort of housed unit that contains the spring. That spring is quite heavy. There is a lot of force there that articulates these rotors. The third rotor, I haven't managed to get that working fluidly, largely because I can't get the third tuning slide out, and so I can't pour oil down the side to lubricate it. It sort of works slightly, but because everything's so badly aligned and there is so much play in it, I never think I'm going to get it very good. So I'm just going to live as if it has two valves. When I play the instrument, it sounds like it's got a bit of an air leak, which is not surprising given the fact that there are bits of tubing missing. I had to solder this back together, but nonetheless it's actually quite an interesting instrument. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the benefits of a well-made rotor system, largely because they're not it's not a well-constructed rotor mechanism. It's a poor rotor design, and so the quick play, the quick action, the responsive articulation that you're supposed to get with a decent rotary system is gone. You don't get it. But nonetheless, for 15 bucks, I have here, not including shipping that is, I have here an instrument that has enabled me to practice some of my soldering skills. I have an instrument that I have not seen or felt the likes of before. And it's quite interesting, so it may also end up on my wall of many things. I just realised I didn't gesture to it. My wall of many things. Yes, but nonetheless, I hope you liked this video. Thanks very much. Yes, you there, right. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more of the sort of stuff that I produce, then please feel free to have a wander around my channel up here, or even consider becoming a subscriber. If you live near an internet or have your own internet that you can pop into, then please feel free to check out my Facebook or Twitter things. You can there connect with me and do stuff, as well as keeping up to date with what I'm up to. If you are in the position to be able to support this channel and help me to bring new and exciting videos to you, please feel free to become a Patreon supporter by clicking here. Thanks very much.